Did you know that the average person checks their phone 96 times per day? That's once every 10 minutes of their waking hours. But here's what really shook me when I discovered this statistic. We're not just losing minutes. We're surrendering our dreams one notification at a time. I've always believed that what you allow into your mind shapes what flows out of your life. So tell me honestly, how many of your biggest aspirations have been buried under the weight of digital overwhelm and endless busy work? Today I want to share something with you that changed everything for me. A simple 7-day framework that doesn't just organize your schedule. It resurrects the dreams you thought were lost forever. My approach isn't about adding more to your already chaotic life. It's about subtracting everything that's keeping you from who you're meant to become. You see, most people think productivity is about doing more things faster. But I learned something profound during my journey to success. The art of achievement isn't an acceleration, it's an elimination. The most successful people I know aren't the busiest, they're the most selective. They've mastered the skill of saying no to good opportunities, so they can say yes to extraordinary ones. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. We live in an age of infinite distractions disguised as opportunities. Every ping, every notification, every urgent email is competing for the same precious resource, your focused attention. And while you're scattered across a dozen different priorities, your dreams are waiting patiently in the background, hoping you'll remember they exist. I want to tell you about a conversation that shifted my entire perspective on time. I was speaking with a billionaire entrepreneur, and I asked him what separated him from everyone else who started with the same advantages. His answer was simple but profound. I learned early that clarity is more valuable than speed. Most people run fast in the wrong direction. I learned to walk deliberately toward what matters. That conversation planted a seed that grew into what I now call the Dream Reclamation System. It's not another productivity hack or a time management trick. It's a complete rewiring of how you think about your days, your energy, and your future. Let me ask you something that might be uncomfortable. If someone followed you around with a camera for the past week, documenting exactly how you spent your time, what story would that footage tell? Would it be the story of someone building toward their dreams, or someone reacting to whatever demands the loudest attention? The first principle of dream reclamation is what I call the reality audit. Most people live in a fog of self-deception about how they actually spend their time. They think they're working on important things, but they're really just busy being busy. Before you can reclaim your dreams, you have to face the brutal truth about where your time actually goes. Here's how you start. For the next 24 hours, track everything. Not just your work tasks, but everything. How long you spend scrolling social media. How many times you check email. How much time you lose to meaningless conversations or mindless entertainment. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see clearly. The second principle is the priority pyramid. Most people try to do everything and end up accomplishing nothing meaningful. But successful people understand that life is about trade-offs. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. The question is, are you choosing your no's consciously, or are you letting circumstances choose them for you? I learned to build each day around what I call my big three. Not 30 tasks, not even 10, just 3 things that, if accomplished, would make the day a victory regardless of what else happened. These aren't random tasks from your to-do list. They're strategic moves that align directly with your most important long-term goals. But here's where most people get it wrong. They choose their big 3 based on urgency, not importance. They let other people's emergencies dictate their priorities. I learned to flip this completely. I choose my big 3 based on one simple question. If I could only accomplish 3 things today, which 3 would move me closest to the life I'm trying to build? The third principle might surprise you. The power of intentional neglect. Success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you're willing to not do. Every moment you spend on something that doesn't serve your bigger vision is a moment stolen from something that does. I started keeping what I call a stop doing list. For every new commitment I considered taking on, I had to identify something else I would stop doing to make room for it. This single practice saved me from the trap that destroys most people's dreams, the illusion that you can add without subtracting. Most people are drowning not because they don't know how to swim, but because they're trying to carry too much while they swim. The solution isn't better swimming technique. It's dropping the unnecessary weight. The fourth principle is energy architecture. Your energy isn't unlimited, and it's not constant throughout the day. Most people waste their peak energy hours on low-value activities and then wonder why they feel drained when it's time to work on their dreams. I discovered that I have about 4 hours of premium mental energy each day, usually in the morning before the world starts making demands on my attention. Those 4 hours became sacred. No meetings, no email, no phone calls. Just me and my most important work. Protecting those hours was like guarding a treasure, because that's exactly what they were. You need to identify your own peak energy windows and defend them fiercely. Most people give their best hours to their boss and their worst hours to their dreams. Then they wonder why their dreams never come to life. The fifth principle is the momentum method. Dreams don't die from one big failure. They die from 1,000 small surrenders. They die when you skip one day, then 2, then a week, until eventually you forget you ever had them. The antidote is building systems that make momentum automatic. I learned to create what I call minimum viable progress, the smallest possible action I could take toward my dreams even on my worst days. On days when I felt like doing nothing, I committed to doing just that minimum. Sometimes it was reading one page of an important book. Sometimes it was writing one paragraph. Sometimes it was making one phone call. The magic wasn't in the size of the action, it was in the consistency. Those tiny actions kept the dream alive during the inevitable difficult periods. And more importantly, they often led to bigger actions. It's easier to keep momentum than to restart it. The sixth principle is digital detox discipline. We live in an age of weaponized distraction. Every app, every platform, every piece of technology is designed by teams of brilliant people whose job is to capture and hold your attention. They're very good at their job. Unless you're equally disciplined about protecting your attention, you will lose this battle. I created what I call digital boundaries, specific times and spaces where technology simply doesn't exist in my life. My morning routine is completely analog. My evening reflection time is phone-free. When I'm working on important projects, I put my phone in another room entirely. This isn't about becoming a digital hermit. It's about being intentional. Technology should serve your dreams, not steal them. But this requires constant vigilance, because the forces trying to capture your attention never sleep. The seventh and final principle is the weekly dream review. Most people set goals and then forget about them until they realize a year later that nothing changed. But dreams require constant attention. They need to be watered regularly like plants. Every Sunday, I spend 30 minutes reviewing my week through the lens of my biggest dreams. I ask myself hard questions. What did I do this week that moved me closer to what I want? What did I do that moved me further away? What patterns am I noticing that serve me? What patterns am I noticing that sabotage me? This isn't about perfectionism or self-judgment. It's about conscious course correction. Most people drift through life unconsciously. The weekly review keeps you awake to your own patterns and choices. Now let me share the 7-day implementation plan that ties all of these principles together. This isn't theory. This is a practical roadmap you can start following today. Day 1 is your reality audit day. Track everything for 24 hours. No judgment, just awareness. See where your time actually goes versus where you think it goes. Most people are shocked by what they discover. Day 2 is priority pyramid day. Based on your audit, identify your big 3 for the next week. These should be activities that directly connect to your biggest dreams. Write them down and put them somewhere you'll see them every day. Day 3 is intentional neglect day. Look at everything you're currently doing and create your stop doing list. What commitments, activities, or habits are taking time away from your big 3 without providing real value in return? Day 4 is energy architecture day. Identify your peak energy hours and design your schedule to protect them. Block out time for your most important work during your highest energy periods. Day 5 is momentum method day. Design your minimum viable progress actions, the smallest steps you can take toward your dreams even on difficult days. Make these so small that you have no excuse not to do them. Day 6 is digital detox day. Implement your digital boundaries. Choose specific times and spaces where you disconnect completely. Notice how different you feel when you're not constantly interrupted. Day 7 is Weekly Dream Review Day. Look back at the week and assess how well you aligned your actions with your intentions. What worked? What didn't? What adjustments will you make next week? But here's what I need you to understand. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. You can read every productivity book, watch every motivational video, and attend every seminar, but nothing changes until you change. The gap between knowing and doing is where dreams go to die. I want you to make a commitment right now. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when things slow down, right now. Choose one principle from what I've shared and implement it today. Don't try to do everything at once. That's how people overwhelm themselves back into old patterns. Start with whichever principle resonated most strongly with you. If you were struck by the reality audit, start tracking your time immediately. If the Big 3 concept excited you, identify your 3 priorities for tomorrow. If digital boundaries spoke to you, turn off your phone notifications right now. The power isn't in perfect implementation. It's in taking the first step. Action creates clarity. Movement generates momentum. Progress builds confidence. But it all starts with the decision to begin. Here's what I know after decades of studying success and helping people transform their lives. Your dreams are not dead. They're just sleeping. They're buried under layers of distraction, obligation, and unconscious living. But they're still there, waiting for you to remember them, to choose them, to fight for them. Every great achievement in history started with someone deciding that their dreams mattered more than their comfort. Someone choosing the difficult path of discipline over the easy path of drift. Someone saying no to good enough so they could say yes to extraordinary. The question isn't whether you're capable of reclaiming your dreams. You are. The question isn't whether you have enough time. You have the same 24 hours as everyone who's ever achieved anything great. The question is whether you'll choose to use those hours intentionally or let them slip away unconsciously. Your future self is counting on the decision you make today. 5 years from now, you'll either be grateful that you started this process or regretful that you didn't. But that 5-year from now version of you doesn't get to make this choice. Only the current you can do that. The 7-day plan I've shared with you isn't just about productivity or time management. It's about identity transformation. It's about becoming the type of person who honors their dreams with their actions. It's about proving to yourself that you're serious about the life you say you want to build. Your dreams have been patient with you. They've waited through years of excuses, distractions, and delays. They've survived your doubt, your fear, and your procrastination. But they won't wait forever. At some point, unused dreams fade away, replaced by the comfortable resignation of what if. But that's not your story. Your story is about to become one of reclamation, of resurrection, of dreams brought back to life through deliberate daily action. Starting today, starting now, starting with whatever principle spoke most clearly to your heart. The clock is ticking, but not in the way most people think. It's not ticking toward some deadline or disaster. It's ticking toward possibility. Every moment you choose your dreams over distraction, you're writing a different ending to your story. Every day you implement these principles, you're becoming someone new. 7 days from now, you could be living in a completely different relationship with your time, your energy, and your future. But only if you start today. Only if you choose action over analysis, progress over perfection, and dreams over drift.